Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to those who are celebrating. If not, then I hope your day is going well. But, anyways, welcome back, and I am your host, Joe JDF Foster, and today we discuss the movie Truth or Dare. Now, there might be a mistake on some people's minds already in that title because of the Lucy Hale movie that recently came out and the movie that preceded it, which the Lucy Hale one supposedly is somewhat a remake of. Neither one of those are what I'm dealing with. The film I am going to be discussing is from 2013, and it got a TV rating of mature due to violence and gore and some things discussed in it. But movie wise, this movie would have had an R or an N or a not rated type deal in it because of how strong that same violence was. And when I get to it, I'll explain something about it. Now, for the cast, something I haven't done in a while. Now, when I looked up the cast, I tried to find with them something that I knew them for, but I couldn't find anything that I actually know them for. And usually, if I don't know something somebody's done, it either takes somebody way off to know it, or it takes others. Or others wouldn't have known them for their things either. First up is Jessica Cameron, who played the character of Jennifer. Ryan Kisser, who plays Derek with a K. In the movie, his character actually stresses that point, that his name is Derek with a K. Heather Durriff, or Dorif, I'm not sure which way exactly to pronounce that, who plays Michelle. Brandon Vliet, I'm guessing at the spelling because it's spelled Vliet, so I'm guessing it's a Russian or Italian based name on that, but more towards the Russian, but maybe Eastern European in general. But he plays the character of Tony. And then Shelby Stellan. Again, the spelling of the name throws me off, so I'm not sure where I'm not sure on how to pronounce it. Who plays the character of Ray? Devani Penn, or Devani Penn. I'm not, again, name pronunciation throws me off because of how they spell their first name. Who plays the character of Courtney. And then Jesse Wilson, who plays the character of John. And now for the plot of the movie. A year after the supposed death of a friend, 6 friends who are internet sensations, one of which was the supposed dead friend in the video, are tracked down and forced to play a game of Truth or Dare where the actions have consequences and some serious secrets are revealed. Now, I'm not going to get into those details of that because that gets a little creepy. I mean, that'd be spoilers, and I'm trying to avoid those. Some interesting notes about it, though. About this movie. Jessica Cameron, one of the actresses in the film, as I mentioned earlier, she actually was both actress and director for this film. when her choices for the directors fell through, and according to what I found, she went through like 5 or 6 directors, and the reasons they fell through were because they either wanted to tone down how the film was done, or they wanted to shift the deadlines in the film, and she didn't want to go with that. So they went opposite ways. She ended up directing the film. And to me, it went a good route in that situation. Okay, and the actress Heather Dorif, or like I said, how you pronounce her last name, is actually double credited in the film. Though it's under a somewhat different name, where she played a body double in it as well. Although it's not listed as a body double, it's actually listed as a different type of double. Oh, and the cast and crew were able, with all the stuff they did in this film, they were able to get back all but $25 of their security deposit. And they lived and filmed out of the same house for the majority of the project. So to me, that's actually very impressive, considering with the way this film was done, you could guarantee this was a very low budget film. And I'd be willing to say it was an indie film, though there's a good chance it might not have been. Ryan Kisser, who plays Derek, would actually practice his lines in the morning by going for long walks and going over his lines, saying them, so he could get into character. Heather, who played Michelle, and Jessica, who played Jennifer, were actually in another film together, which actually was an indie film, by the name of... give me a second here. They were actually in a movie, an indie film called Intrusive Behavior. Based on her skill in that film, Cameron offered Heather the role of Michelle in this film without an audition, which goes to tell you how much she thought of her abilities. Now for my final notes on this. The good things about it to start with: the runtime was short. It also shows why you should be careful of the content you show or put out on on the internet or television or any type of media source, or even just in general, like with pictures. Now for the bad. It felt too much like it was trying to be a version of Saw, only it had more gore in it, and the idea was not to be in any way cleared of a past sin. Like in Saw, they had, you did this because you made your living, like with the drug dealer, and I think it was Saw 2. They wanted him to go through the needles from where he'd been selling people drugs, so they wanted him to go through and dig. Although I may have that wrong, and he wasn't the one who was supposed to go through the needles. But the idea was he was supposed to go through one of the things, and he refused to. So the puzzle didn't clear their soul, even if it killed them. They couldn't die with a clear conscience. either way, they wound up more trouble than they were in. Now, even for what was considered a horror movie by most people, and this one, I didn't really call it a horror movie. I called it a thriller or suspense, though I might lean into horror with it with the way it was done for the scare factor. I mean, it wasn't no surprise scares of Friday the 13th or Halloween type deal. The originals, not the remakes. But I will give it did have a nice little scare factor to it. And some of the stuff was something you did, was stuff you didn't want to know or see. So it did have somewhat of a scare factor to it. A horror factor to it in that sense. But to me, even given that, if it was considered a horror movie, it had way too much gore for it. And like I said, to me, it was more of a thriller or suspense than it was a horror film. However, recommendation-wise, I do say it is worth watching, though some areas are going to bother the viewers. I will state that out front and just let you know. And I'm just telling you now, so again, it is worth watching, but there are areas where it is going to bother the viewers. So don't say I didn't warn you if you watch it and then come on here and complain to me about it. Because I did warn you twice now about that fact. My overall grade for this, though, is a B-. Even though the gore was overdone, the blood and the way they did things, the effects were done more realistically than a lot of films do nowadays. So, they looked more realistic and were able to help sell the film in that gore factor. But also the way the films, but other than the gore, the good outweighed the bad in this situation. So, like I said, this is a 2013 movie called Truth or Dare. Not the Lucy Hale and the one before it. The one that preceded it by like a year or two that are similar in ideas. It's 2013. Watch it. Let me know what you think. Also, like, subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed what I do. And let me know what you'd like for me to do in an upcoming video or discuss. And if I do, I will let you know. And I will give you credit. And that's all I got to say to that. I will see you all later. And as I said earlier, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to those who are celebrating. And to those of the other faiths that have upcoming holidays, I hope they work out for you. And to everybody else, have fun.